Taylor Patterson with Big West Muscle. Cody Miller, and we just finished up a great set. I mean, the music has me just extra pumped. See, I'm just like, just going crazy over here because I mean, the music is nice and loud. This is one of those gyms that just brings energy. I mean, if you come in there with any kind of will to go, any kind of motivation, this place will bring out the beast in you. And to have Jodi going, she's not scared to push the limit. I don't care about limits. I'm unlimited because she taught me that way. So we came in here and we just ran shop a bit, and that's great. Anytime you come in the gym, you're not supposed to be leaving out feeling 100%. You're supposed to feel like maybe 10, 20 at best. I feel like a failure. It's a good thing. Jodi, how do you feel?
I feel energized.
Yes. That's a good thing. I mean, I got the energy.
I'm ready to eat. It's off season. I'm ready to eat.
And, you know, you being a female bodybuilder, I said I wanted to touch on this because there is a stigma that goes with female bodybuilding. Because when I work with women in the gym or, you know, any place out in my job, they say female bodybuilding. I don't want to get too big. First thing out of their mouth, it's gonna make me too big, and I won't even look like a woman. How do you, as a professional, natural female bodybuilder, answer that question to where it can relate to where they can understand?
Well, I think it helps my small stature. I'm 4'11". I go on stage at about 106, 107 pounds. Right now, I weighed 109 this morning. I stay right around 114 to 116 in the off season at the most. And so I think it helps that I walk the walk, talk the talk. I mean, I stay small, and that's even with squatting 250, deadlifting 270. Wow. And so I tell women, you're not. Do you think I'm huge and healthy? Well, no. I mean, I wear a size 0 or 00 jeans, extra small. And so for them to see me and understand what my lifts are in the gym, then they go, oh, okay. And I tell them, I've been doing this. I mean, I don't want to deter people. I walk a fine line when they say, how long have you been doing this? Because when I tell them it's been 22 years and I've been training, I don't want somebody to think, oh my gosh, I have to, it's like over 2 decades before I'll look like you. Well, yeah. No, not necessarily. But I've been training for 22 years and I still look small. Yeah. And so until I pose, and then that's a whole different thing.
Oh, it is.
But I'm shaping my body. I mean, I really see that the thing about natural female bodybuilding is, yes, you're building the body, but you're also really sculpting it and shaping it. And I compare bodybuilding to, it's like you take a piece of clay, and you're given a certain type of clay and so much of it, and you take it and you shape it within the parameters of what you were given. Mm-hmm. And that is, to me, that is the essence and the challenge that is so wonderful to natural bodybuilding, because it's taking what you've been given, yes, and doing everything that you can with what you have been given.
That's natural bodybuilding.
Right. And I think that with what many women have to understand is that if you're not putting drugs into the mixture, you're not going to get. We only have so much testosterone in our bodies. Mm-hmm. So there are limits to how big we're going to get.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be.
You're still a woman.
Right.
So that's never going to be a bad thing. And my challenge has always been the guys that say, well, women are too muscular. I'm thinking because you're not.
Yeah.
So I think that's just what's the old saying? Haters gonna hate. Guys still, if they're intimidated by muscular guys, of course, naturally it goes to say they're going to be intimidated by muscular women. But I don't think that should deter from women wanting to exercise. If you're going to be the healthiest, your best, because, with natural bodybuilding, you're talking mothers, you're talking sisters, you're talking daughters that have interaction with family, they have a life, it's a life dynamic, and it's a way of life. But it shouldn't take away from living. Right? And the best thing about natural female bodybuilding is that you do have a life. I mean, this is something you do because you have a passion for it. But it's not all consuming, because when you go out, you're still a woman, and you can look like one.
Yeah, and I get tons and tons of compliments. You know, not just saying, oh, look at me, but seriously, because there are a lot of haters, but they don't say it to your face. And you know, I know when I go into a grocery store and I have a 70-something-year-old woman coming up to me and going, oh my gosh, your arms, like, they're so beautiful. To me, that tells me that what I'm doing is the right thing. And when I've got other women that say, you look so feminine, like, it's shocking. And I go, yeah, I mean, this is what female bodybuilding should look like.
Yeah.
It shouldn't, you should still look like a woman. And,
because you are.
Right. And so, and I think we've gotten lost from some of the beginnings of female bodybuilding when it was natural. And I think we need to go back to the classic look. And it is the X-frame, and it is a small waist. It's wide shoulders, but it's not like so wide that they're out of proportion with the rest of your body. I think nowadays we're getting into this, oh, you know, gotta get these humongous shoulders. And it's like, no, not necessarily. I mean, if your shoulders are overpowering the rest of your body and they don't match your legs, then that's not bodybuilding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's something to be said about creating the symmetry. To me, that's what bodybuilding is creating that X-frame.
Yes.
And making sure that the width of your back, the width of your shoulders, the thickness in the shoulders is in line with the thickness of your quads and your quad speed.
You should match up.
Right.
Yeah.
And as a natural female bodybuilder, I mean, trust me, my shoulders didn't start off looking like this. It was very, very small on the top. I was much bigger in my lower body. I had to work very hard in order to get my upper body to match my lower body. And it took years. And it took diligent effort, consistent effort in the gym. Right. But I tell people, you know the story about the turtle and the hare.
Yes.
And you know who wins the race. And ultimately, sometimes it's good to take the slow route. You'll get there. And you'll get there in a healthy way. You'll get there in a way that offers you a longevity in life and a longevity in your mind and your spirit. Because steroids just take you down a really long path.
Well, you know, I like how you said that because, you know, I had a chance to go visit Joe Ricardo Jr. when he was out at his home. And he is just phenomenal. But he said his legs were his worst part. And if you look at his legs, you're like,
That's shocking.
yeah, there's no way I can believe that because he can make those things literally talk almost on demand. But he did say one thing that you just said, which is it's a fountain of youth if you do it correctly,
Yes.
which is what's most important because you hear me say 100 times, it's a way of life, but it's a part of life, it's part of living because it's about health and fitness. Stepping on stage is the end result, but it's not the end all be all. I don't win. It's not going to kill me because everything I did means I'm healthy. And I think that's the best part of natural life. And that's the one thing that you focus on because, you know, when you were talking to Flex and I up in Chicago, I was just so blown away at the life aspects you had put into fitness. And was that something you started with or is that something that just came over time?
I just always saw, I think because I started so slowly in it, and what is different, I think, than a lot of competitors nowadays, because it's so much more blown up and so much more marketable today, many more divisions, many more competitors, it's almost saturated. At the time that I was doing it, it was a rarity. To be a woman with muscle was such a rarity. It was like you were a rare gem. And I lifted for 8 years before I ever dieted down for a competition. I started off in the Galaxy, so before I ever stepped on stage in a bikini, I had already been lifting for 8 years straight.
Wow.
And I think that built a foundation, that built a true love in the gym. I had a powerlifting coach who actually had said, I don't want you to do any more powerlifting meets until you know that you're lifting because you want to lift, not just lifting for a competition.
Yes.
And I spent about 2 years lifting, and I was like, I love lifting, and I love competing. Like, I want a goal to work towards, but I will lift no matter what. Like, if you took away all the competitions in the world, I'd still lift. I want to look this way.
Yes.
This is my choice. I'm always amazed to look at other people and see, you know, I'm always curious about their choices. And I think what we do with our bodies it is a choice, and it's a gift. This is a vessel in which we move in and we think within, and it allows us to be able to accomplish so many things in life, and we have to take care of it. It's not a superficial thing. It's not a shallow thing to do.
That's right.
This is our adornment and our protector, and so you have to take care of it. You have to take care of it properly and cultivate it. And just like a flower in a garden doesn't grow just bam overnight, you have to water, you have to fertilize it, you have to do so many things with it in order to keep taking care of it. And even once it does bloom, you still have to prune it, you have to shape it.
Right, it never
So
ends.
the body is the very same thing, and it goes through that same cyclical process. And so that's how I definitely view the gym as it is a part of my life. It's my antidepressant. It is my friend, my buddy. It's everything to me, and I would do it no matter what.
Yeah.
So
I mean, what I always say, this is not a wish, but it's also not an accident. There's plenty of time put into this. But I said, you know, I've spoken with my family, my friends, anyone that's close to me. I said, would you rather pay this way or pay with something, a prescription that covers symptoms? It doesn't fix anything. And then eventually leads to liver and kidney damage. And then you talk to the doctor, just talking, and you're spending a small fortune. I said, that's your membership for 3-4 years with one doctor visit. And then you're talking about the prescription, which is going to just keep building, because you basically get something that covers the symptom and something that covers the symptom of the symptom. And then it just keeps going downhill instead of uphill. Whereas if you go to the gym and you're healthy, and you have a choice. And I mean, like you said, you have a choice, and then you got a choice on your choice on how you want to do it and how to improve. Instead of saying, I'm on a decline, and now I've got to be told my choices. So, you know, I appreciate everything you've done, and I really appreciate the fact that you're a female bodybuilder that's so strong mentally. Because, you know, there's people that are in the sport that are ready to just fall apart if they don't win. And I said that should not be the driving force. It should be the health side of it. And the stage is like, thank God I made it. Instead of saying, I didn't win, my life is over.
it's definitely. I mean, it's tough. I grew up not playing sports. Not bodybuilding has actually helped me to learn how to compete, to be a better sport about losing. And trust me, I mean, I wasn't happy about not doing well in the bodybuilding for the Natural Olympia, but I'm still alive to be back in the gym. I'll compete again. I'll compete next year. It's not going to take anything away from me. It may change some decisions I'm going to make next year.
Okay.
But it's not going to deter me. I didn't fall apart. I went out. I had fun with my friends. I was irritated about some things, but you know, I'm going to go on. It's a part of my life. It doesn't define my life. And you know, and I've also been a competitor who I've been dead last. I mean, the crickets were singing by the time I got called out. That was the only noise that you possibly heard. And then I've been all the way up to first, and every single, you know, placing in between. And I've ridden the roller coaster ride. I've ridden the political roller coaster ride. I've everything. And so I know what it is to hit all of those placings and to go through all of the emotions. You are disappointed. You know, you are disappointed. And so, I mean, we almost have to embrace that disappointment and understand how to go through it so that we can appreciate when something great happens. I mean, when I won the Natural Olympia last year, I was crying on stage. It was more meaningful to me than anything that I think a lot of people can imagine after having gone through 10 years of not getting what I felt that I was due elsewhere. And so but I also, I mean, people should see that, hey, I can fall too, and I'll get back up.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna die. At least not from that.
Well, you're not. I mean, like I said, if you come in here into the gym and you leave out the way you think you've done nothing.
Right.
And I don't care how much cologne you put on, how much perfume, or what the clothes look like. If there's no work done in here, then you haven't done what you're here to do. And I think it always shows when you step out of here, whether it be on stage or in life, cutting corners. mean, like on stage, you can spot it a mile away. In life, if you're pretty much watching how things are supposed to go, you see that. So every time you do something, I'm sure with your brain, it's gotta be well thought out. Because I see that you don't cut corners in here, and I know you're probably not cutting corners out there because life is a gym, and gym is life. They go hand in hand. So thank you, Jodi. I appreciate you welcoming me down here, and thank you, Jodi, with an E, for being my camera woman. And I really appreciate the stop down here. Dallas is, I mean, the weather's great. I'm enjoying everything about it. Jodi Miller, Kaylin Patterson, Metroflex, thank you so much. We are